All right, so today we have a special guest for you guys, my man Matthew.
Hey guys.
All right, Matthew, do us a favor, give us a little Black History trivia.
So there's this black woman. Her name
Mm-hmm.
is Dr. Gladys West,
Okay,
and she's from Virginia.
okay. So what did she do?
So she made a GPS, the first one, in fact.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't have made it here if it wasn't for that GPS. I'd have been
Yeah.
somewhere in Virginia, lost like hell.
Maryland.
Actually, that would have been probably in Maryland. Good point. Good point.
Happy Black History Month.
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all.
We want to start off this week's episode is going to be about what February is to most of us, Black History Month.
Yes,
A
sir.
time that we definitely have to point out some of our superstars within our community, whether it be present, past, or current. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
Oh, for
it's
sure.
not just for 1 month. You feel me? It's every day for me personally. Like the
I
way
mean,
I
that's the HU life, right? That's the
yeah,
Howard University.
Howard, bro.
That's that
And I
Howard
mean, I went to
University motto.
UMES too, so I went to all the HBCUs. When I mean, not all of them, but two.
You
know
went
what I
to a
mean?
good
Yeah.
amount. You know what I'm saying?
So
Did
when it come
underground
down to it, for me personally, every day is a
Black History Month
yes,
or
sir.
Black History
'cause-
Day.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You
If
got a
you
kid,
really-
so you definitely, I'm pretty sure you want to instill that knowledge into him
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
definitely.
You feel me?
Uh,
But
to the best as I can. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, man. And one of the things that when we were doing this episode that I thought about, or why I wanted to do, is just kind of give people some background information. You know what I'm saying? Like, where did it come from? How did it, come out to be? For example, most people don't realize that the Black History Month movement actually started off um, piggybacking off of a couple other ideas like the Pan African movement, which started off after the Battle of Ottawa. African Americans here, back home, in the Caribbeans, all saw what was happening in Ethiopia between the Italians and Ethiopians, and they kind of grew inspiration from it, and they realized, there's strength in what we can do, there's strength in our people, and it kind of created an inspiration.
Yeah, where representation matter.
Oh, for sure, for
But
sure.
before we dig deeper into the history aspect of it, where it came from and things like that, I do want to mention like one of the things that ticks me off is like whenever I'm around, our peoples pretty much they always had that negative stereotype about African American, and they'd be like, oh no, nasu balage balage, like, and I always like
Oh yeah.
that's one thing I always get up and be like very defensive about because I met so many people that are the opposite. Like majority of the time, our people is fed the stereotype of like, oh, Tokroch are no good. Like you gotta watch out for them.
Misrepresentation.
But
You feel me?
um,
It's a bunch of stereotypes that we get fed through media, through news outlets, both here and back home.
yeah,
And
definitely.
it's something that we definitely need to adhere to. And
Oh no,
man,
like
even when it comes to dreads, man, before
Ah.
Habesha people really started diving into the
Bruh.
dreadlock culture, they would always see the African Americans, especially
you
in
ain't
DC.
gotta tell
I'm
me,
sure.
bro.
You know what I'm saying? They would always see the African Americans with it. They're like, oh, look, is that hair? This is nappy. It's this,
Nah,
it's that. And it's like, bro,
it's what y'all sound like. Even with when it came to like when I was going to school, I remember, I'm not gonna call my family members out there, but they were like, "Why are you going to HBCU?
Yeah.
You need to go to the Nachocha Lubate,
You know what I'm saying? Go to-
like so."
go to
We
the
need to
PWIs.
stop that. Nachochin verify mark where you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
man,
Like,
stop putting down your own people, man.
Yeah.
Just because the cultural aspect is slightly different. At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? They're Africans that have been kind of, I guess, displaced for
place. Yeah, no, and
generations
I mean,
generations.
even like if you really think about it, like what we have today is because of what they actually built.
Oh, for sure.
Gaba, like it's one
For
of those
sure,
things
literally.
where even if skin color and I thought so you don't need to
You
intermat
feel
it if
me?
it wasn't for them going through all that struggle and making it happen and going through the civil, everything that you can think of
Facts.
is because of them that we actually have what we have. America Metan, we can actually enjoy this life because they actually
You feel me?
paved the way for us.
Facts.
You know, that's number one. That's why I get always irritated when it
Oh,
comes
for
to
sure. And
that
it's
stereotype. Simata, I'd be like, yo, chill out. Like, go back and actually read a little bit and then
do
come
some
back and talk
research,
to me.
man.
Yeah.
Some of these inventions, like you said, are
There-
people of
there's-
color that did it. That they at the time couldn't get patents, couldn't get those kind of recognition, but they had white guys that they worked with or that they worked under
Yeah,
that took all
definitely.
the
Yeah.
accolades for themselves. But like I said, like Black History, the whole point of the month was kind of to highlight the people that were the ones that were suffering, that were putting the hard work and the grind
Definitely.
to elaborate our people.
Yeah.
But what most people, for example, me personally, I did not know who started Black History Month. It took me a while to figure it out.
Yeah.
I got to give my man, Mr. Carter Woods, prop for that. You know what I'm saying? He started it in 1925, if I'm not mistaken. But when he started, it was only for like 2 weeks, and it was to
But,
celebrate my man Frederick Douglass and Lincoln. It was for their birthdays.
Okay.
So it was more for recognizing them as slight, I guess, pioneers for the struggle or for the movements. And then after a few years, I think it's like 40 or not, I don't even know how many years. I'm not gonna even cap right now. After a few years, Gerald Ford became president, and he actually expanded it to a month,
Okay.
which me personally, I felt like that was a good move on his behalf, especially in a time like that, just because not a lot of people found it to be a necessity in education, just because at the time it was still
Well,
kind of
yeah.
frowned upon. They didn't really care for the Black history.
So it's not, like there's always this meme there's some jokes that go around always talking about, oh, it's because it's Black History Month that they gave us the shortest month. So that's a myth.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Oh,
It was
okay. It
actually
wasn't-
selected by Mr. Woods to
Okay.
commemorate those two birthdays, and then it just got
Gotcha.
expanded into a full month. And I feel personally appreciate that, and I appreciate how a lot of the entrepreneurs, philanthropists, a lot of the educators at that time that were minority, that were Black, actually got behind the idea and pushed it so hard to the point where the president had to recognize it and be like, you know
Yeah.
what, you need to move it into a full month
Yeah,
and make sure.
Just with everything that the Black community had go through,
Sure.
it's been always a fight.
And it's crazy because when you look at the importance of it, it teaches a lot of kids value in themselves, especially when you're a
to
minority.
Be,
You know what I'm
be
saying?
proud of who you are.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
It highlights the inventors. It highlights the people like Mr. King, Malcolm X, who sacrificed their lives literally to push for our equality in everyday society.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? People like Rosa Parks, who allowed us to sit. People like Harriet Tubman, who hit us and snuck us up to the north to
Moses.
get us. You feel me?
Yeah. No, seriously, they used to call her Moses.
The Black Moses or the
Yeah.
female Moses.
The female Moses, because
I mean-
she actually literally she used to take them through the rivers, and
Oh yeah.
they would have to go through the
Swamps
waters
and all
stuff.
that,
So
yep.
you know how Moses opened
Split open the sea.
So that's the reason why. Very the history behind it, bro. It's one of those wow. It's
Yeah, man, and knowing those kind of information allows you, especially me when I was little, going through elementary school, middle school. Yeah, I knew that I was, I guess, in a way, slightly different just because I came from Ethiopia. I knew I had that kind of history behind me. But when you come here and you see what people of your complexion who might not be Ethiopian do, it gives you that idea of dang, these people are badass as well. It's not just us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely.
And then one thing when I was doing my research is I started looking at what are the relationships between our culture and the African American culture. How did
there's
how did
a lot. There's a lot, bro.
how did we
Influence in a way, yeah.
influence or how do we contribute
Yeah.
into the African American community, and how do they contribute into our
To
community,
yeah.
so on and so forth. And it was crazy to see there was a guy named Malaku Bayene, who was a cousin of Haile Selassie.
Yeah.
Yep, he came into the U.S., studied medicine at Marietta, got his bachelor's degree. Then he went to Howard University for his his graduate school and stuff like that. And while he was there, he was able to create a lot of platforms. He created oh man, I'm remember the name in a couple of seconds, but
you're talking about the club, the association?
Yes, sir, the Ethiopian Association. So the African Student Association, not
the Africans. Yeah, I forgot the name too, but yeah.
But he created the organization to allow the students there to kind of understand better what the two cultures were giving. To introduce the African aspect to people here. He even, sorry about that, guys, but he even went on as far as to marry an African American woman because he believed that connection of those two coming together would not only influence, his culture to understand, like, okay, there's something to gain from the Ethiopian side, but vice versa.
Exactly.
So it was dope to see that.
Even with the I remember watching a documentary on Netflix. It was called "I Am Not Your Negro." Pretty much on one of the scenes, it talked about how some teachers would let students know, especially African American students, know that there's kings and queens in Africa to look up to. So.
That's deep.
So that they don't, they're always looking at this everything white. But
especially when you look at
there's
like
also
European,
people that look like you that are kings and queens. So that morale aspect of it. Even when I meet like older people, where are you from? And I say Ethiopia. Oh, you guys never been colonized. And I was like, bro, like, how do you even know that? Like,
No, bro, that's one of the things that most even Americans, like Black Americans, know Ethiopia being like proud of. Like, I guess
as the Black man
to talk about it so much. You know what I'm saying?
Not even that. It's history. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's one of those things where people like you done things that are
Yeah, man, and
great.
I think
so it's one of those things where representation really matter.
Yeah, man, and that's the thing. Like even with the guy, Mr. Milaku, like with the education he gained from coming here and going to medical school, he was actually able to use that knowledge when he went back home. Once the war between Italy and Ethiopia started, well, the second one, he was able to actually go back and go to the front line and use that medical knowledge to help.
Yeah, of course.
And that's a crazy president when you think about it. Like the man literally left back home, went to India. When he was in India, his best friend passed away. Left there, came to the U.S., got his college degree from Marietta, then went to Howard, where most people would have just been like, "Oh, that's it. I'm in the U.S. I'm married to an American woman. That's over."
No, like there's still a few of those people left. Like my pops, for instance, he never became a U.S. citizen because he believed in his bloodline so much to the point where he's like, "No, I'm not selling my blood." Like he was that proud, like I am Ethiopian. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, our generation kind of differs because we have to adapt to the environment that we live in.
For sure.
But there was a few people that actually had that point where, like, I'm here. I'm gonna get my education. I'm gonna go back home and do whatever I need to do to, help back home. Which we need to go back to that kind of mindset.
Oh man, and that would literally go into like the Pan-Africanism aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like Marcus Garvey believed that. Once you get all the information you can here, go back and establish businesses, definitely. Education, stuff like that for the people there and move them up.
Yeah, our generation needs to change that.
Over their heads, brother. Over their heads. And
because man, they'd be like, yo, I'm going to go home, back home and open a club. I'd be like, bro, like, why can't
I'm trying to open a restaurant. bro, do something productive.
A restaurant is good. But at least, do something very productive. But man, it is what it is. It's one of those things where,
For sure, man. And that's, and that's a crazy thing because if you look at the flip side and you look at, like, what did Americans or African Americans contribute to Ethiopia, a lot of it centers around that time where we were at war, where you had people like Colonel, I don't know why I said Colonel Robinson, who actually went and took on the aspect of being the first leader of the Ethiopian Air Force and actually revolutionizing it and teaching a lot of the pilots. Now, granted, what I'm saying, our Air Force wasn't as robust as Italy's, but the purpose of it was, they would deliver messages between Ottawa and us, or Haile Selassie and Ottawa. They would go and deliver personnel. They would, deliver equipment.
They did a lot, even with the regular black folks that didn't have that kind of ability, they were able to actually sign up
Oh yeah,
to kind of like they were willing to be drafted and go fight for us.
for sure. They were signing
So
petitions for the
yeah,
government to step
yeah,
in. They
they
were
were
sending
doing
money
everything.
and
Yeah.
resources to
Mhm.
help support it. And you know, that's the kind of stuff that I feel like gets lost
And yeah,
within our history.
no, I mean.
And when
Yeah,
I say
because we're not talking about it. You see, now, right now, me and you
for sure,
talking about it, and whoever's watching our show is going to be like, "Oh, I didn't even know that." You know,
yeah,
like a
man,
lot of times, even when we do our survey on Instagram, a lot of the things we're talking about, they
it
don't know
goes
about
over
it.
their
You
head,
know,
man,
yeah, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that." So it is one of those
for
things
sure.
where, you know, just like anything, history gets passed around by what when you and
Word of mouth,
yeah, when
talking,
you
you know what
tell
I'm saying?
your kids are going to tell the kids, and you tell your
Somebody
friends,
writes a
yeah.
book about it because they get inspired by what you said, you know what I'm saying? And that's it,
Mm-hmm.
like, and it's crazy when you think about it. Like, this man literally left everything he had in the U.S., packed his family up, didn't
And
speak a
just
lick of
yeah,
Amharic, you know what I'm saying? Went into Ethiopia,
yeah,
helped them win a war, and then actually stayed there till he died. You feel me? Like,
yeah.
that's crazy sacrifice. You feel me? For
No,
people that you
very.
don't know, but you believe in a cause so much that
Yeah.
it's worth making those kind of like radical decisions in your life.
No, he feels at home. You feel
Oh,
me?
for sure.
That's like home because at the end of the day, we, you know, the African Americans came from Africa.
Yeah.
You know, the same. You
Nah,
know,
for
but
sure, man. And when you think about it, you know, one of my biggest questions for myself was just kind of like where did that pride or like that relationship between each other kind of dissipate to? You know what I'm saying? Like what made it kind of go away like a little bit? And I feel
yeah,
like especially within our parents, I feel like they don't understand that they don't understand the struggle in terms of like what really happened to
yeah.
African Americans. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Like the common misconceptions that miswrote. Like there's a lady who did research on it about the issues between African Americans and Africans,
Mm-hmm.
and she actually went and interviewed a bunch of students about it.
Okay.
And the Africans were like, "Oh, you know, they're lazy. They all use financial
Yeah,
what's it called,
government.
welfare and
Yeah,
stuff like that." This, that, and the third
that's.
was the
By the way,
like
the if you really get down to that, it's actually
Caucasians.
that use that
Yep,
to their advantage.
a
Yeah,
lot
a
more.
lot more. So
But you know that was the
and then it comes down
misconceptions.
to it where when people don't want to work for you for free, people automatically going to label you
Oh, for sure,
lazy. You know what I
for
mean?
sure.
Come
Like
on
my
now,
man
like
just understands that 7.95
bro,
in DC is
like
not a livable
if
wage, brother.
if you look at the list of the what African Americans contributed when it comes to inventions and things like that, you'd be surprised. You'd be
Oh, for
like,
sure,
what, bro? Like
for sure. And that's the thing, you
all
know,
aspects, you know?
and that's the thing, you know, it was the misconceptions were like between the African Americans was like, oh, the black people believe that Africans were primitive. They didn't have like the same social structures as
Hmm.
that of the U.S. or the infrastructure and stuff like that. And it's sad because when you move on from that, it's kind of like, all right, so you have all these negative perceptions about each other. How
Hmm.
do you fix that? Like how do us moving forward, like you have a kid, you feel me, like how do you help his friends really understand what it's like to be African or where
Oh
they come
yeah,
from or vice versa, where how can his friends really like I mean clearly for us we understand what the African lifestyle
yeah.
is like or the African American lifestyle is like and the rules and whatnot, but like you know, people our age who might be coming here with their small child, it's like, how do you guys have that conversation with each other to really understand, like, um, this is what we need to change, or just in the large scale, like, how do you change
Yeah,
that perception for each other?
that's the thing. That's where we gotta be more open, especially as a community. We need to be more open minded about the whole race and be
Hmm.
like, hey, you know, there's, you know, just with anything, you gotta identify the problem, right? So the problem right now is like more or less, especially within the Habsha communities, being closed minded
For sure.
and not opening up the door to say, you know what, you know, not even like opening the door, but not even stepping back to say,
Look at the bigger picture in a way.
yeah, like you know, these people that we're low key like discriminating against and like labeling with these stereotypes,
Have a
actually,
bigger.
yeah, like they, if it wasn't for them
You wouldn't even be really allowed to come here.
in here, exactly.
Yeah.
So you got to think of it as far as that. But usually, you know, as humans, of course, like once you just be like try to brush everything, oh, whatever,
Oh, for
whatever.
sure.
But
For sure.
when it come down to it, within our community, at least it's a conversation we need to have. And put it on a light where, you know, like, again, there's so many inventors, scientists, doctors, you name it.
Yeah,
Like when it
and
comes
then
to
so many reasons as to why some people are in the misfortunate situations that we think is fueled by them being lazy. You feel me?
exactly.
And
So
vice versa. I think in terms of like black community here understanding African culture, I feel like immerse yourself, go to African restaurants. You feel me?
yeah,
Take
yeah.
a trip to Africa because a lot of
If you
people that I
can, yeah,
know,
if you can afford it, yeah, why
you know
not?
what I'm saying? I mean,
I
if
haven't
you can
been
go to
back home
Thailand,
since 2010.
brother, if you can go to Thailand, if you can go to like Europe and ball out and stuff like that, you can definitely go to Africa.
Oh
You know what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying?
for sure,
It's
for
not that
sure.
deep,
Put some money.
and then on top of that, bro, doctors that look like you, CEOs that look like you, bus
Mm-hmm.
drivers. Like me personally, when I went back in 2004 for the first time after being here for so long, I got on the bus and I'm like, dang, there are no other people but black people in this. And then you take a moment and think of it like in the country, like, holy cow, the president's black, the vice president's black, all the parliament people are black,
Yeah.
all the CEOs here are majority black. Whereas when you're here, you know what I'm saying, you don't really get that
Get that? Yeah,
sense.
everything is.
You
Yeah,
feel me? Everything's like, okay, you know what I'm saying? The assistant manager might be black, but the GM, the CEO, the HR lady are
majority
all
of
white.
them. Yeah.
You feel me? So I feel like things like that, like taking those kind of trips, whether even if you're a parent, you know what I'm saying, take your kids to Africa and let them see what life is like. Take them, not just take them on safaris, but actually understand the historical aspect of it and let them see it, and then go from there.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. It is one of those things that we have to, you know, of course, again, I always say this representation matter.
For
So, you
sure,
know,
for
with that
sure.
being said, we just want to say, you know,
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all.
happy
Black,
History Month, but, you
yes,
know,
sir.
it's not just a month; it's a whole year round. So
That's the Howard University speaking for
don't
y'all.
get it. Yeah, no, don't get it twisted, man. You know, it's every day is Black History Month. Honestly speaking, you
For
know.
sure,
So
man. For sure. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, like you said, you have a kid, so for you it's always it's a dope thing to constantly teach your kid something new that
yeah,
you wouldn't
yeah,
expect. Like, oh dang, like I thought it was done by this kind of guy, but it's like
yeah. No,
reality
no.
is nah, it was a black dude that did it. He just couldn't take credit, brother.
Yeah, at that time at
Yeah.
least. But at least history. That's the best part about history, man. It's always written somewhere. If you
Facts.
dig enough, you'll find it. But yeah,
Facts.
shout out to all the, you know,
Black inventors, black
yeah,
doctors, black, people who made
everything,
social
man. Like,
sacrifices for the
bro.
causes.
Yeah, we forever indebted, and at least, you know, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but within our Habesha community, we do need to put some more respect, you know, onto the
Yeah,
African
man.
American community and understand that, you know, every little penny or every little thing that we have, we were able to be successful because we were able to put in that hard work and everything. But it is one of those things that if it wasn't for them, we
You never
wouldn't
had,
be
even had
here
the
today.
opportunity.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here today. Don't disrespect people with interracial marriage and all of that too.
You know what I'm
So
saying? Got married. If you're a Habesha and you marry an African American woman, power to
hey,
you, bro. You doing what my man
at the end
Malako
of the
wanted to do.
day, yeah, it's about love when it comes to it. Like if you love that person, hey, whatever makes you happy. But
Facts.
don't let nobody tell you just because they're not the same race as you that you can't be with them.
Facts.
That doesn't make no sense to me. Like, don't let your mom or dad tell you. This is the only time I can tell you don't listen to your mom and dad.
Yeah,
Honestly,
if you
if
love
if
that
if
person, man, love
somebody
them.
loves you and they love you back and they giving you 100, hey,
What more you asking for, homie? Like, what more you need?
so yeah,
But with that, man, like we said, power to our people. You know what I'm saying? Power to the black community. You know what
all
I'm
day,
saying?
all day.
Unity will definitely get us a lot farther, whether it be business, whether it be just social aspects. We see how we came together for the
You,
whole Black Lives Matter movement.
go. I'm gonna give
Imagine
you
what we
a
could do.
homework. Go look up what the African American spending power is, and then you
Imagine
will
what he
know.
could do if you put that together, man.
Everybody comes together, bro.
Bro.
Like we be kings and queens again.
Oh, bro,
Soon to be
that buy back the block thing would blow up if if black people realized like the money that we spend, the money that we put out, if we decided to actually control who that goes to, the
Exactly.
effective
And
change
we
that
we
could be
could
done.
we could though. That's the thing. It's just more or less
It's
the time
education, man.
aspect. Yeah.
It's the financial education, but
But we gotta let them go. You know what I mean? Before we do let you go, we just want to say if you kept up and watched the whole episode, we appreciate you. Make sure to
like, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Turn on the post notifications. Follow us on social media.
let us know what you want us to talk about.
What
Be
you guys wanna see.
interactive with it. You know.
We haven't done this in quite some time. Trying real quick. What are you thankful for, bro?
Man, where do I start, bro? I'm thankful for everything, man. Actually, we just started class, so it is one of those things where I'm thankful that I actually, with the busy schedule I have, able to kind of maintain and manage to actually go ahead in class, even though the little ones are over there bothering me. But I'm
Oh yeah, and you got the new addition, the little pixie.
nah, man, don't. Man, that dog is a. Just let me stop.
Nah, man.
Matthew, don't kill me. I love that dog, man.
He lied.
No, I do. I mean, it's just a matter of it getting trained or whatnot. But
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna get there. It's gonna get there.
Go ahead,
Me
take it
personally, I'm thankful that these dogs are getting older because boy, am I tired of taking care of them, bro. Like when I tell you I'm tired, you know what I'm saying? As they get bigger, they use the bathroom a lot more.
of course,
And bruh, that cleanup be taking forever, bro. Aside
Yes,
from that, you know what
sir.
I'm saying? I'm thankful for Black History Month, man. It allows me to gain knowledge more on people who contributed to the success of myself, my
Yes,
parents,
sir.
my colleagues, you know what I'm saying? And that's it for me, honestly. And
Yep.
we'll see you guys next week for
Next-
episode 6.
Yeah, if you guys really enjoy the show and want us to do a episode of whatever you want us to talk about, make sure you subscribe. I mean, and comment below.
You feel me? Or even hit us up in the DM. Let us know what y'all think.
Yep.
Yeah.
We out.